John, what are you eating?
No, it was a shooting weekend.
A shooting weekend?
Just a straightforward shooting weekend.
You didn't eat anything?
Yeah. Okay.
We now know that he was and had been procuring young girls for sex trafficking.
At the time, there was no indication to me or anybody else that that was what he was doing.
John, look at Mommy.
Anything.
You would have made that connection because you stayed with him, you were a visitor, a guest on many occasions at his homes, and nothing struck you as suspicious?
Nothing.
During that whole time?
Nothing.
Are you telling me the truth?
Yeah.
He threw a party to celebrate his release, and you were invited as the guest of honour.
Oh, in 2010? That certainly wasn't a party to celebrate his release in December, because it was a small dinner party. There were only 8 or 10 of us, I think, at the dinner. If there was a party, then I'd know nothing about that.
You were invited to that dinner as a guest of honour?
Well, I was there, so there was a dinner. I don't think it was quite as you might put it, but yeah, okay, I was there at a dinner, yeah.
You didn't have any snacks?
Nope.
I'm just trying to work this out, because you said you went to break up the relationship, and yet you stayed at that New York mansion several days. I'm wondering, but you were staying at the house of a convicted sex offender.
It was a convenient place to stay.
Open wide, let me see. Really? You didn't have any snacks?
Because during that time, those few days, witnesses say they saw many young girls coming and going at the time. There is video footage of Epstein accompanied by young girls. And you were there staying in his house, catching up with friends.
I mean, if they were, then I wasn't a party to any of that. I never saw them.
John, come here. John, can you explain to me why the sprinkles are empty?
Well, they're not empty.
Another guest was John Brockman, the literary agent. Now, he described seeing you there getting a foot massage from a young Russian woman. Did that happen?
No.
You're absolutely sure, or you can't remember?
Absolutely sure.
John, look at me.
They're not empty.
Did you eat those sprinkles?
No. I did not.
July of this year, Epstein was arrested on charges of sex trafficking and abusing dozens of underage girls.
He himself, not, as it were, as close as you might think. We weren't that close. So therefore, I mean, yes, I would go and stay in his house.
Did you see him or speak to him again?
No. He could have done, but I
yeah.
You know it's not nice to tell stories and to lie, right? Look at Mommy. You're not supposed to lie. Tell me now. Did you eat those sprinkles?
No. I did not. Your sprinkles.
One of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Roberts, has made allegations against you. She says she met you in 2001. She says she dined with you, danced with you at Tramp nightclub in London. She went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell, your friend. Your response?
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever.
You don't remember meeting her?
No, didn't happen. I don't know where the bar is in Tramps. I don't drink. I don't think I've ever bought a drink in Tramps.
She was very specific about that night. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating.
I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and that was, yes, I didn't sweat at the time. And so I'm afraid to say that there's a medical condition that says that I didn't do it, so therefore.
She described meeting you. She was a 17-year-old girl meeting a senior member of the royal family.
Never happened.
No.
No. Sex trafficking?
No.
Was Her Majesty the Queen involved?
No, nothing. Never happened.
John, you have sprinkles on your face.
She provided a photo of the
Yes.
two of you together.
Yes,
Your arm was around her waist.
yes.
You've seen the photo.
I've seen the photograph.
How do you explain that?
I can't. Because I have absolutely no memory of that photograph ever being taken. You can't prove whether or not that photograph is faked or not.
But it's possible that it was you with your arm around
That's
her
me.
waist.
I mean, that is what I would describe as me in that picture. But we can't be certain as to whether or not that's my hand on her, whatever it is. Well, here's the problem. I've never seen Epstein with a camera in my life. The photograph is taken upstairs, and I don't think I ever went upstairs. It's not a picture of. I don't believe it's a picture of me in London, because when I go out in London, I wear a suit and a tie. I take very, very few photographs. I am not one to, as it were, hug. So that's the best explanation I can give you.
You have sprinkles on your face.
No. I did not eat sprinkles.
There was a witness there, Johanna Stolberg, who says that you did visit the house in that month.
I may have visited, but no, definitely no activity.
Because in a legal deposition, 2015, she said she had sex with you 3 times. Once in a London house when she was trafficked to you in Maxwell's house.
Yes.
Once in New York a month or so later at Epstein's mansion, and once on his private island in a group of 7 or 8 other girls.
No.
Epstein's housekeeper, also in a Florida court legal deposition, said that you visited the Palm Beach residence around 4 times a year. You got a daily massage.
4 times a year?
That was what he said in a Florida court legal deposition.
No.
I'm just wondering, when you look back now, is there a chance that those massages might have been the services of someone who was being sexually exploited or trafficked by Epstein?
No.
Virginia Roberts' legal team says you could not spend time around Epstein and not know what was going on.
I'm not looking for it. That's the thing. You see, if you're looking for it, then you might have suspected. You look back and you go, well, was that really the way that it was, or was I looking at it the wrong way? But you don't go into these places, you don't go to stay with people looking for that.
I did not eat sprinkles. Did not.
Some very strange and unpleasant activities have been going on. I'm afraid to say that I'm not the person who can shed light on it. Well, there again, I'm not one to be able to answer that question, but I'm afraid to say I'm not an expert. If I was in a position to be able to answer all these questions in a way that gave sensible answers, then I'd love it, but I'm afraid I can't. At the time, I felt it was the honourable and right thing to do. And I admit fully that my judgment was probably coloured by my tendency to be too honourable, but that's just the way it is.